Well, Jim, I remember, you and I were chatting on email because you noticed that I was emailing you from London as opposed to Atlanta. And I remember we were talking about London. You mentioned that your father, who'd served in the US Army in World War II, had actually come here to London, had himself taken picture outside the Houses of Parliament. And I remember emailing you. I remember thinking, do you, by any chance, Jim, have a picture of yourself in the same position? And I remember you emailed back and you said, you know what, I do. And then you mentioned that your father had a bunch of pictures from his time. And funnily enough, at the time, I'd been watching Band of Brothers, and I just thought, I've got to get this story. And I remember saying to you, do you know what would be great? Get that picture of you, get that picture of your dad, and maybe some pictures of he'd taken throughout his time going through, with the US front, and just submit that as an iReport and tell us your story. And I just when you sent it in, it was just wonderful. And I think what was so moving about it, and I think the reason that first of all, as an iReport, it did so well. I mean, it got thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. We got loads of lovely comments on it. People even sent in their own images saying this is actually my dad. I think it's because we made that connection between your generation, your father's generation, but also using technology of yet another generation. And I think seeing the pictures of you and your father side by side, and you can actually see a family resemblance as well, which was so lovely. That is just the perfect example of a story that comes from a tiny kernel, but you grow it into something really wonderful. And we had this great chat on email about it afterwards. I remember I mentioned my grandfather had served as well, and it was wonderful. And the response, the iReport team, they all loved it, and we got some lovely emails and comments, and it was just a classic example of that. Like I said, tiny little thing grows into something really rich and multimedia and just perfectly done. It's a great, great story.